Hello, you sentient ball of stardust. My name is Casey Davis. I'm a therapist and I'm an author of the book How to Keep House While Drowning, where I talk about ways to make it a little bit easier to take care of yourself when you're overwhelmed, stressed, have mental health issues, physical health issues, or maybe you're just in a hard season of life. Maybe you're looking for a place that you can come and listen to some practical advice. This is a podcast for all of the self-help rejects. We're going to talk about skills for survival and self-kindness. And I'm going to leave the pop psychology at the door. I promise not to tell you to meditate or to journal. We're just going to give you some really insightful conversations with hopefully some practical advice. So I don't believe you need to pick yourself up by the bootstraps. I don't want you to just try harder, and I don't believe that laziness exists. So join me over on Struggle Care, where we can find compassionate solutions that help us function a little bit better.
Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
Stoveleg Media, igniting conversation.
Hey guys, happy Friday. My name is Elena Grace, and welcome to I've Been Thinking. So today, I might rant a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and warn you. I'm going to try really hard not to, but, we'll see how that goes. Because today we are going to talk about the mainstream media and misinformation. And this is going to be a very surface level situation, guys. Like, I am not getting into anything crazy at all. Like, not talking conspiracy theories, not talking, like, I don't know, just the basic facts, right? So, long story short, y'all, the mainstream media is the literal devil, specifically in the United States. And I'm going to get on my soapbox real quick. So on June 1st, 1980, CNN, the cable news network, became the world's first 24-hour television news network. The network signed on from its headquarters in Atlanta with a lead story about the attempted assassination of civil rights leader Vernon Jordan, right? So, okay, sounds good. Except, suddenly, instead of the 6 o'clock news, like every night, and the 6 o'clock news every morning, or 7 o'clock, or whatever time it was in the mornings, we have a network, we have an entire channel trying to fill 24 hours of screen time with new things instead of like an hour or a half hour twice a day, right? So they're trying to fill suddenly 24 to 48 times that. So they start showing dogs being pulled from floodwaters, or like, hey, here's this cool thing some rando did, like on the other side of the country. Awesome, in theory. Then came OJ's car chase through LA, and that was televised like entirely, and that is what made CNN a hit. So when that network became a hit, everyone else wants to join in. Duh. Like, everyone else wants a piece of this cake. So then you have Fox, MSNBC, everybody else jumping in and vying for viewership. So that means that everybody has to have the coolest news, the newest news, the most exciting news. So, what does that mean? Ultimately, that leads to news becoming sensationalized. So, that is when you have, say, I don't know, something that typically would only be like a local issue. Maybe take a wildfire, for instance. Yeah, they're super important. I'm not saying they're not super important. Climate change, blah, 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 all of that. Absolutely recognize that. But typically, people on the East Coast wouldn't be concerned with a brush fire, a wildfire on the West Coast or in Australia, right? But because we have the 24-hour news media, suddenly we're super concerned with these. I'm not saying we shouldn't be. It's just an example off the top of my head, right? Or something else that comes to mind is like a shooting spree, right? Yeah, those are awful. Again, not saying they're not at all, but unless it's proven to be like a part of a greater terrorist cell, it's not usually something that somebody on the other side of the country needs to be concerned about. So, a shooter in El Paso, Texas, somebody in Massachusetts probably doesn't have to worry about the same thing happening. But now it's on the news, it's being shoved in your face, and so you're being told to worry about it, right? And then, even more problematic, what if we don't have enough news to sensationalize, right? So let's add opinions in there just for funsies. Everyone has them, and everyone has a right to. But should opinions be a part of the news? Should opinions be presented as fact? No, I don't think so. That is a huge, huge issue here. And then we have these competitions between networks or between the political parties that the different news nations support. So first of all, the fact that a news network is involved in politics like that is ridiculous. A news network should be separate from freaking political parties so that they can report objectively. But secondly, they literally attack each other to try to tear people down with the opposing viewpoints, to try to undermine their authority on facts, whatever, so that people don't believe, the other person, they believe that network. I'm speechless. And even if somebody from that network has a thought or says something that doesn't align with the party or with the network's discourse, then sayonara, pal, you're out of here too. Like, how dare you think outside the box, it is preposterous. It's childish. So, all of this is why it is so important for you all to do your own research, And, furthermore, I don't know if people in America know this, but people from other countries literally think that the news in the United States is insane. They think it's over sensationalized. They think it's childish. I was talking to a friend of mine from the UK the other day, and he is a big fan of politics. So he's telling me about watching the RNC and the DNC, the national conventions for our two major political parties here in the US. And he was like they're literally reality television. He was just he was shocked, but at the same time he wasn't because he like knows how things happen here. But I mean, in other countries, you may have like a funny fight in the House of Commons or the House of Lords or whatever, but it is nothing like ours. They, I mean, their news just reports. They talk about things. They don't get on there and have a friggin' table like sportscasters and yell at each other like they're yelling about who should win the Super Bowl. They're why? Why is why did the news become entertainment? Why? And why did we allow that to happen? Because we did it. Like as much as the networks created that, we allowed it to happen. Is that really what you want? Do you want to be informed by entertainers or do you want to be informed by reporters? Do you want your news to be actual information, like actual facts? Or would you rather be entertained by CNN? Like, that's not what the news is for. It's not supposed to be entertainment. Shows like The Five and Outnumbered. I can only think of Fox News ones right now, honestly. But like those are interesting in that they can they will debate sometimes different ideas and it can introduce some different viewpoints. But like why are those on our news stations? If we want something like that, why isn't it on an entertainment channel? Or why isn't it presented as entertainment instead of being presented as news? You know? Just lots of questions here. Just the shite that we see on our televisions from the news, it's incredible. So, like I said, that's why it is so important, y'all, to do your own research. There is nothing more essential than seeking out multiple sources and focusing on the facts, not just opinions and not just biases. Most every American news source has some major political bias, so it's essential that you seek out multiple sources and learn to discern the facts. And that is how you get a well-rounded story because, News Network A can say this, can say, 1, 2, 3, and News Network B can say 2, 3, 4. And you're missing parts from each of those stories. But if you look at both of them together, then you're going to get a better, well-rounded story. Does that make sense? And, for local news, you're kind of SOL. You have to deal with what you've got. But for national and international news, seek out foreign news sources. That is even better because they have the least biased information on what's going on in the US, for example. Sky News, love Sky News. BBC, a lot of people think it's left-leaning. I have not thought too much about that because most of the time I aim for Sky News, but still BBC, it's better than CNN or Fox, where the psychos live. Anyway, guys, I so appreciate you letting me get up on my soapbox and talk about this. You have no idea how heated I get about it sometimes, so I'm really glad that I kind of kept my cool today. I had my notes in front of me, and that really helped me stay on track and not ramble too much. Next week's episode, I think I am going to just ramble. I'm just going to talk to you guys more so than usual, because next week's episode is something that's kind of just an idea of mine. And I don't know if I even want to research it. We'll see. I might not. But yeah, anyway, guys, make sure that you subscribe to the Patreon for early access to episodes every week. You get them a whole day early, and that's just at the $5 level. And starting at $10, you get extra content, which, like, I'm putting some really good stuff on there, especially for the month of October. You should definitely subscribe. And, that allows me to continue working on this incredible project of mine, too. Make sure that you give us a follow on Instagram at I've Been Thinking Pod. Give us a follow on Twitter at Been Thinking Pod. And, engage with us, talk to us, let us know what you've thought about the latest episodes. Make sure to subscribe or follow wherever you listen to us. And if you use Apple Podcasts, definitely give us 5 stars and leave hopefully a friendly, positive review. All right. Thanks so much for listening, guys. And I'll talk at you next week. Bye.
Hello, you sentient ball of stardust. My name is Casey Davis. I'm a therapist, and I'm an author of the book How to Keep House While Drowning, where I talk about ways to make it a little bit easier to take care of yourself when you're overwhelmed, stressed, have mental health issues, physical health issues, or maybe you're just in a hard season of life. Maybe you're looking for a place that you can come and listen to some practical advice. This is a podcast for all of the self-help rejects. We're going to talk about skills for survival and self-kindness. And I'm going to leave the pop psychology at the door. I promise not to tell you to meditate or to journal. We're just going to give you some really insightful conversations with hopefully some practical advice. So I don't believe you need to pick yourself up by the bootstraps. I don't want you to just try harder, and I don't believe that laziness exists. So join me over on Struggle Care, where we can find compassionate solutions that help us function a little bit better.
New on CuriosityStream. How do you connect a 16th century potato to limitless energy production? Could Napoleon's toothpick have a direct link to a machine that predicts the future? And how can a 1700s conch shell chart a course to humans connecting their brains to the internet? James Burke's visionary series Connections returns for a new generation. Experience all new Connections. With monthly, annual, and bundled plans, find the one that works for you at CuriosityStream.com.